All right, well, the sun is out, so hopefully some of this white stuff here goes away, because I'm about over it. I'm starting to see ground again underneath, so that's good. And I think a few dozen thousand of these birds have left, so there's probably only, 10,000 here now instead of 100. But I need to walk out here. It would probably be just as easy to walk as it would be to get something and drive out there. And I'll explain right after this. Oh, welcome back. We got a snowplow going by. We might actually have a 2-lane road again before too long. Anyway, if you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man. And I'm not a fan of snow. But I noticed something on my drone flight the other day that we need to come out here and address. And that is, I noticed that a wire was knocked off of one of the insulators up here. And I'm hoping that that is what is causing another problem that I'm having, which is that brand new Cyclops fence charger blows a fuse every 4 or 5 days. And I can't find any reason why it would be doing that thing other than, if it's shorting out against a fence post. That's probably enough to do it. But so far, I'm not real happy with the amount of maintenance that this Cyclops thing is requiring, because I seem to have to always give it attention. Fly away, you things. Go back to where you belong. I see Mini Buddy the dog tracks out here, where he's been running out there to attack birds. Oh man, we're overachieving. They turned around and come back. That's good. Well, that's nifty. Oh, this is almost like exercise. I'm not a fan. There it is. But it is not. Is it touching? No. There's space between it. So I don't think that that was my issue. So that kind of is not great, because I was hoping that maybe I would find something that would be the reason why. Another trouble I had the other day, I noticed when it was raining, it was arcing out where I had it. I always had it hooked up there because these springs are very saggy and the wind will blow them into the gate. So Grandpa had rigged that thing up, and that's fine and dandy, but the insulator's busted. So I'm gonna have to get a different one and make that back, but this will work as long as it, Well, Knutson, I flew that drone the other day around here and tried to see if you could actually check fence with it, and I could do it. I mean, pretty well see everywhere that there wasn't a major meltdown, but I don't know, it's just odd that this year I've had more electric fence trouble than I think I ever have before. And how nice that it's also a year when we have more snow than we've had for a good amount of time. It's melted quite a bit because I can walk on it with regular boots and it's not, you know, it's not 8 inches deep anymore. It's melted itself down to 2 or 3 inches in places. Many plows to play with again one day when we get time. Well, there's no trouble here. Well, several people have asked about this 55 combine project. It's still where I parked it when I quit working on it last time. We ought to try to start it again, move it around. The next big thing to do is going to be, we got to get that rattle chain out because it's broken, and then repair this floor in here, and then try to get us a new chain or whatever. Probably just bend over and buy the new one, because if we're going to take it out and play with it, we don't want to wad that chain up in there, you know. That wouldn't be any fun. So whatever, that's a project for another day. But here's my happy Cyclops, and it's not clicking, and that frustrates me much. Over here, it's more likely than not the problem. And what's even more puzzling about them, see, it's got a fuse on each side. This one is to protect the power inside, and I've replaced bunches of them to the point that I bought like 100 of them to keep on hand, and I don't think that's normal. Now, granted, they are only a half, that's what they're supposed to be, and I don't think that's a lot, but anyway, I just think it's way more than it should be at this point. Another fun fact, or puzzling thing, I guess I would say, is that a lot of the ones I pull out don't look blown, but they must blow up under the cap and you can't see it. So every time so far, all I've done is just put this in there, and there she goes again. See, it says no click, change the 1/2 inch fuse on the left. Light flashes every other time, short on fence. But my light's flashing every time. I also noticed that like now, after putting that in there, it takes it a while to sort of build up to full power, and here in a little bit it'll really light you up. But I just don't think I should have to have replaced a dozen of those fuses so far. Maybe I'm wrong, but that just doesn't seem like the right thing to do, you know. I followed all the instructions. Why is it causing me such grief? I don't know if the water, like the snow, has been causing an issue with it, but I know we haven't had lightning storms or that many power surges that I'd have to keep replacing. So, oh well. I'm also trying, I've been fighting this GoPro constantly. It keeps wanting to go crazy. And so I've turned the frame rate down a little bit, and we'll see if that fixes our problem. Maybe it's just, it doesn't like recording in the high frame rate all the time, but whatever. I am going to, I think, so that you have some sort of interesting video, I'm gonna check this fence up here off camera, and then I'm gonna go try to get my jump pack. I'd really like to hear that 2-cylinder John Deere run again. I couldn't get it started the other day, and the battery was just way too low to do anything. And we're also going to be tackling that at some point because it's made quite a mess. So it's leaking diesel fuel. I think we determined that a while back in a video. But I had everything running except for this the other day when I was shuffling around. I guess I didn't have the 70 running, but I had it running recently, and I had that running recently. So I'd really like to get this going, but what I'm probably going to have to do is take that stupid magneto cover off again and sand the points, because it was acting goofy again, where it acted like it didn't really want to fire enough to get going. And it seems like every time I let it sit for too long without running, it gets up to that old trick. So I'm going to get some stuff together, and then we'll see if we can't hear this thing pop a little bit. Because yeah, I mean, I want to keep them running. I've always wanted this tractor where you could just get on it and use it, and it's never been that way for me, and I don't understand it. I mean, one time years ago when Grandpa was farming with this, he got it stuck in the fall of the year, and he left it sit outside in the field all winter long, uncovered, nothing. And in the springtime, when it got dry enough, he started it up and drove it out of the ruts. I mean, and I can't let it sit in the shed, and it doesn't want to stay where it'll work. So very frustrating, but part of life, I guess. You know, we're not using it as much as he was, so that's probably part of it. But yeah, I'll be right back. I might have just found one potential issue. Is that getting power? It should be. But if it was arcing out to that, that would be a good reason why it wouldn't be working. But I don't think it is. I need to redo all this. They tore this all up. But anyway, whatever. I was hoping I found it, but I didn't, I guess. All right, the little escape, I need to swap out to a better battery, because that one's 5 volts. It won't start itself. I had to use the jump pack on it. Now, what I got to do is try to get myself wedged in there. Didn't really give myself a lot of room to work in there, did I? I was putting stuff away like crazy, and I just didn't really care at the time. I don't think it's going to be physically possible for me to do that. I'm going to have to do it like half hanging over. Sure, why not? Why wouldn't we have something difficult, you know? That's just the way she goes. There's a gasket we need to put on. I never got that done. That's okay. These screws stay in the cover, so that's one nice thing. We can perhaps work like this and get them all loose, and then in a minute we will wedge ourselves in there in sadness. Oh, Wicco XH. I thought about buying a new one of these to see if that would fix this problem, but why would we do that, you know? Okay, that one's loose. I should have probably got a better screwdriver too. But if you get too big a one, you can bust the cap by accident. Don't ask me how I know that. All right. Let's set that gently aside. Now, of course, I can't see anything, but I'm assuming that it's pretty bad shape. Oh, brother. Let's try that. All right, that's as good as we're gonna get it now. So I suppose I'll get my battery jump box. We'll hook it up and see if we can't get some type of life out of this thing. I just noticed that pin. Apparently I didn't finish that process, whatever I was doing there, but that's okay. Oh, sure, yep, fall to the ground. That's fine. That's fine. All right. Right? Is that, make sure I got it hooked up right. Okay, it shows 11.7, so why not, you know? See if it don't just spring right to life now. Choke, throttle. Well, almost. Oh, that'd be fun if the starter quit now too. Uh-oh. It don't want to stay running. Is it out of gas? It's charging the battery, so that's good. We'll let it sit here and run a little bit. I think our gas has separated in there because it's leaving a nice layer. I honestly don't know how much is left in there. Water down in there. Well, if I had been thinking ahead of time, I would have got all these out of the way and we could have drove it. But I I did not do that thing. Yeah, it's running good. Probably shouldn't slip the clutch though very much. Will it idle? Pretty good. Well, I say that and then it hiccups. It probably doesn't like the cold much either. This was a very interesting video, but you got to hear a tractor run, even if it's a different color green. It needs a bath. It's pretty dusty, but such is life. We'll definitely get this out and play with it sometime. Sometime when there's not that much white stuff on the ground. Oh, it just putts along. So nice. Probably a good idea if we run it out of fuel again. That seems to keep it nice, where it'll actually start the next time. So we'll let it run until it doesn't have any more. Hey, that'll be about out by now. All right. It just seems like the carburetor stays nicer if you run it out of fuel. A lot of your old-timey tractors, that's how you shut them off. You just shut the gas off and walk away. Can't run if they ain't got fuel in them. And if they run out of oil pressure and throw a rod through the block, they don't run either. So either way, it's a win-win. Yeah. So that's nice to hear that run again. Kind of makes me miss Grandpa a little bit. This was our first tractor restoration project together. He wanted this done so bad, and at least he did get to see it like this and at the fair. It's still got little things I need to do to it. Hook up the lights again, and you know, there's things on the wheels I'd like to make better. Great Grandpa messed up the threads in some of those things, and so they're not, there's different fasteners and everything, and I don't know, so we need to sort that out one day and, you know, make that better. But it's a usable running and driving tractor. You just got to have a battery that's up for the task. So yeah, it's been a while and we got to hear a tractor run. So maybe one of these other videos, or one day, we can fire up some of these others. Like I said, I've had them all running, all of these, in recent times, but I don't remember what I robbed the battery out of this one for. But it ought to run. I mean, it fired right up last time I did it, and it sat for a long time. So yeah, paint job ain't holding up too good on the dash, but that's fine. There's projects we could do to this tractor too at some point. The hydraulic unit doesn't work the best. It's not very strong. So I've got another pump, and we could take that off and see what we need to see in there. Got to flip it over to work on it, and you know, just see what we can do to make that better. And then it would be a super handy little tractor. It also needs some steering attention too, because it's pretty, one of those spindles is pretty bad. But like I said, we got plenty of projects to work on without buying anything else. This thing needs a valve job bad. Valve guides, it smokes pretty bad. And I think the head gasket's also blown. So I know it is, because last time we drove it, didn't it shoot water in our face? Yeah. So that needs done, and then it would be usable. You know, just stuff I've acquired over the years. Everything was junk. Every tractor here was somebody else's garbage. You know, the 1800 didn't run. I towed it home with it bouncing behind, you know, another tractor. This thing here came here, didn't run. It would only turn about half around, and took the head off and found it was full of nuts. Couldn't get a head gasket at the time, whenever that was, years ago, so I had to reuse the old one, and that's why it's obviously not sealed now. Time has taken its toll after a few heating ups. So, you know, it didn't have any good fenders on it, and it still doesn't have great fenders, but that one's not as bad. This one is made out of 2, cut in half, patched up. So anyway, that was, like I said, somebody's junk. This one was all in pieces when I bought it. It was somebody's junk, and it's got a brand new motor and runs good. Yeah, 1365 was total garbage. Super 66, total garbage. All these tractors were just practically scrap. And they made it back again. Even the John Deere, it was left for dead. I mean, it was locked up, didn't run, and we got it going. 500 is the only one in this shed that came as a running tractor. And I did a lot of stuff to it, and we still got stuff we need to do to it. But yeah, saving everybody's crap, you know. 60 was a junk tractor in pieces. The 66 came painted up like that, but it had obviously that head problem we've worked on. Super 77 ran, but it's always had issues, but it didn't look anything like that. 1855 was a basket case. It ran, but it knocked like a Jehovah's Witness. So yeah, if people harp on it or whatever, just remember, everything here was something that was saved from ultimate doom. So I don't think it's doing too bad. But I guess we'll call this one here. I'm just rambling on, and nobody needs to hear that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I'll just leave it here, and we'll catch you in the next one.